I've tiptoed in the process of asking people's budgets for a really long time. And when I finally put out this job form, just decided asking this as clear as day at the very end of the form is really the most straightforward way to do it. I think beating around the bush is almost less professional than actually being straightforward. Hey everyone, and welcome to Adoramacinema. My name is Julien, and today I want to help you master client communication. And to do this, I want to walk you through something I've created, something I call the Pre-production Questionnaire. This is something I send most new clients that reach out to me, and it helps me very efficiently get on the same page with them and really start the relationship, start the process off on the right foot. Before we begin, I want to share a quick example to help explain the importance of communication and also getting on the same page, setting expectations, not only with your client, but with the team around you if you have one. Imagine you're a wedding photographer or videographer and you capture this amazing wedding day and you're excited, the bride and groom are excited, and you end up delivering all the photos and everybody's completely happy, you're stoked, you can't wait to hear what they have to say about your pictures. Unfortunately, they're absolutely devastated and disappointed because you didn't get any pictures of their elderly grandmother. And that situation is very easily avoidable through a very simple question in pre-production up front ahead of the wedding day. Is there anybody or anything at the wedding that you absolutely don't want me to miss? And you would have that conversation ahead of time. And they would go, yeah, actually, my grandmother, my aunt, whatever it may be. That very simple, short, easy conversation up front would avoid potential disaster. And that's what we're trying to do here. In order to align everybody's expectations, we're trying to have as much clear communication up front as possible. Get everybody excited about the project, lay everything out ahead of time, and then when it comes time to actually shoot and deliver, the hope is that the end result is exactly what everybody expected, hopefully exceeds expectations, and everybody's happy. With very little feedback to give or things to say about it, because again, we've talked about it so much ahead of time. So with that, let's dive in. So after years of getting references and inquiries over email or phone call, where I just really had to repeat myself over and over and over again, hey, thanks so much for reaching out to us. Let me educate you a little bit on the photo and video production world, and let me ask you all these questions about your project so I can onboard you and get on the same page with you. It was time to create this form. This is the Pre-production Questionnaire that I've used in the last number of years. What's cool about this is that it's not impersonal. It's not just, hey, here's this link, can you fill it out? It actually frees me up to be more personal in an email, ask people about their life, who they are, how they're feeling, all that sort of stuff. So I'm able to be personal. But then instead of just repeating all this onboarding stuff, I can very efficiently and professionally say, hey, please fill out this form. It will get us on the same page, and I look forward to working with you on that project. So at the very top of the form, it basically sets my goal or intention for the form. Please fill out this form so we can better understand your goals and needs regarding your upcoming project. If a question doesn't pertain to your project or you're unsure of the answer, that's okay. You can simply skip it. Thank you, and we look forward to working with you. There's my goal. That's the purpose of this form, so I can better understand their goals and their needs regarding the project. So pretty standard stuff, obviously name, email, phone number, and this is where it starts to get intricate and good. And this is where I think you guys can start gleaning some information from this. So my first real question here is, are you the lead contact on this project? Probably, most likely they are. That seems like a pretty straightforward question, but check this out. The next question is there an internal person or team that will need to approve any part of these processes and final deliverables? Years ago, we did a project. It went absolutely wonderful. The client was 100% pleased with our deliverable. It was exactly what we talked about. At the very end of that process, it kind of came to a surprise to all of us that that client then showed the video deliverable to their boss, who we actually didn't know existed. And that boss absolutely blew the entire project up. We were all caught off guard, our contact included. Asking this question up front would have avoided that issue. And so if and when someone else's name other than the lead contact's or team's name is put in this block here, we're gonna have to include that team member or team in the process of pre-production, expectation setting, all that communication, rounds of feedback. And we're gonna have to include them, and we're gonna have to mention that to the lead client. Hey, this person needs to be involved from the beginning because we want to avoid any issue down the road that might arise. Next question is, what is the goal of this project or campaign? Whenever I'm in sort of a brainstorming or creative meeting with a team or a client, one of the first questions I ask, and I'd love to usually write it on a whiteboard at the top of the whiteboard, hey, this is your goal. Why I think this is so important is that different team members or whatever might have ideas, and ideas aren't bad, but one person's idea is like, I want to get drones and elephants, and it's like, hey, that's a great idea, but does that point to the goal? And so if there's a million ideas on the whiteboard, we're going to have to eventually boil them down by saying, hey, do they point to the goal? And so it's a great way to create sort of a true north where everybody involved in the project can sort of look to for direction. Next question is pretty standard. Are we capturing photo or video or both? Is there a premiere or due date? Where will this content be displayed? Is this going to be displayed on a phone or a screen at a fundraising gala that's 4:3 aspect ratio or 16:9 for me to get a sort of full scope readout of what we're talking about and what the client's expectations are? I've found that these questions are super helpful. Next question is, do you already have specific messaging, visual ideas, and assets that need to make it into the video or photo deliverables? If so, please share them. A lot of times the team will have stuff like this. They'll have goals. They'll say, hey, we need to mention X, Y, and Z. We have this graphic. We have this org chart that needs to make it in. So this is me starting to tease that stuff out of them because we're gonna have to do it, and this is the time. Next question is, references are good if you have them. Do you have any example of content that you want this project to look and feel like? This is a great question, not because we want to copy or mimic what's going on, but because we want to be brought up to speed as efficiently as possible. And there's not much better of a way than when a client has a clear vision. They say, hey, I love this video. Can you make my version of it? The answer is obviously, sure, we're going to make it better, put our mark on it, but it really helps that now I know exactly what you're looking for. And it gives us a place to start. Next question is, how many deliverables do you need? Again, this might get a little technical, but it starts the conversation. If somebody says, I don't know, we can start to give them information and potentially upsell them. So if they think they just need an Instagram reel or something and they don't need 16:9 content, we can educate them about YouTube ads that are 16:9. We can educate them about Amazon clips, and we can talk about how we might want to make a longer form video for them. Next question is video only. How long do you want the videos to be and why? Again, we're just gauging where they're at. We're trying to understand what they need and want. If they ask for a 15-minute gala fundraising video, we know we need to help them understand that nobody wants to watch a 15-minute video in a gala. And not only that, but that's going to be a massive project. We probably want to encourage them to make a 1 to 2 or 3-minute video. So this is where they can put that information down. Next question is video only. Will there be a need for a shorter or social cuts? It's a good question because a lot of people will ask for sort of potentially a longer form thing, and then they'll either ask or we'll encourage them, hey, maybe we should make a 60-second version of this or some social cut downs. And again, you can then sell that to the client. Next question is video only. Will the story be driven by interview, voiceover, narration, graphics, or a combination? Again, just getting on the same page. What's their vision? Are they unsure? And we need to help educate them about how, hey, we normally interview 3 people or 5 people and then get the storyline and can tell your story through these testimonies. Or is this video more of a CEO, owner, president, speaking on behalf of the company? Or is this a motion graphic heavy piece? This is where they'd put that information. Next question is, do you know what type of formatting you need your deliverables in, aspect ratio, specific file size, or parameters? The answers to this question are vital for final deliverables, so I would just rather get people thinking about this now rather than later, or potentially forgetting to ask this question. Next question is something I always like to ask people. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Is there something I'm forgetting? Is there something I came here to say or do or ask for, and for whatever reason I forgot? This kind of gives them that moment to reflect. Finally, the question everybody's been waiting for, do you have a budget for this project? I've tiptoed around this question and the process of asking people's budgets for a really long time. And when I finally put out this job form, I weighed all of my options and just decided asking this as clear as day at the very end of the form is really the most straightforward way to do it. I think beating around the bush is almost less professional than actually being straightforward. I think the angle that I want to always come from, or that I have found to be quite efficient specifically for new clients that may not know the world of production, is trying to understand and asking them what world we're living in. We can make you dinner. We can make a hamburger. We can make a skirt steak. And we can make a filet mignon. We're able to make you dinner at 3 different price points. But we just want to understand what your budget is, what your taste is like, and do they align? Do you want the hamburger and do you only have hamburger money? Or do you want the filet mignon but you only have hamburger money? You don't have to use the dinner analogy or the hamburger skirt steak filet mignon analogy, but most recently I've found that it's really helpful. A client could say, I don't know, tell me what it costs. There's a $8,000 version, there's a $16,000 version, and there's a $35,000 version. For so many different reasons, we really like making the $35,000 version, or we really enjoy the process of having the resources that we need to make the video that we're proud of. If and when the budget is only whatever, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $8,000, we're just extremely limited in our resources and how much we can invest in the project. And so we're always going to make something that we're proud of. We're always going to make something that tastes good. Just understand that if you have the filet mignon vision for this project, but you only have hamburger money, we're obviously only going to be able to cook you a hamburger. Obviously, most of these questions are all just about pre-production, but I truly believe that getting off on the right foot is really going to set you up for success in the future. And the hope is that the answers to all these questions can be like the compass that points you and the client towards true north, and you can kind of always point back to it by saying, hey, look back, this was your answer back then. They might change their mind over time, but you're going to have to facilitate those situations and those conversations as time goes on. But again, I believe that production and post-production, after you set these clear expectations, can go really smoothly. Of course, there's a ton to talk about when it comes to communication and communication with your clients, and we're only able to scratch the surface here today. If you have any questions or comments about what we talked about today, leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. If you have any other pain points or questions you have about the industry or your process or my process, also leave those in the comments below. I'll make sure to read them and maybe even make a video on them in the future. Don't forget to check out the pre-production questionnaire link in the description so you can make one for yourself. I hope this video was helpful. Remember to have fun, keep shooting, and I'll see you in the next one.